What is up, everyone? We're back. Close and Paid podcast 2.0. We say 2.0 because we can't remember the actual episode we got to. Life's been moving fast. Ryan, what have you been doing? Why have you been away? Why have you not been tweeting so much?
You know, sometimes the side quests turn into main quests. I was on an offer for a couple weeks, agreed to do it part-time, and then it was absolutely ripping. And so I did it pretty much full-time for the last, I don't know, what has it been, like 3-4 months, since the last podcast. So that was good. I also wrote, before I started, there's no pre-call video, VSL, anything like that. So I wrote one, tested it myself. They liked it. Founder did it. Probably did, I don't know, 4 or 5 million since I started there. So I'm going to rebrand myself as a copywriter. I'm going to say that I did all of that from writing some copy, writing some VSLs. Other than that, it's been good. Booked a one-way flight to Europe for the summer, and yeah, excited to be pretty obnoxious over there. Maybe get on TikTok, start yapping about a European summer. So there's some updates from me. What's going on with you?
You didn't even say the main, the biggest benefit of going across to Europe is my wedding, and we get to meet each other for the first time properly.
Yeah, we'll do an in-person podcast there. Yeah,
in person from the wedding.
Yeah, that'd be a good spot to do a podcast at.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been out the game. Well, not really. I've just been like moving house, got a new house. Getting married is, I mean, to be honest, my fiance, my wife does the majority of it. I don't hear much other than see my bank account go. And it's been mental this month, like insane. And my brain's pretty foggy right now because there's just over a week until I get married, and there's so much to do. I've got to write a speech. I've got to go to this place. So many things I've got to buy. So yeah, but yeah, that's an update, everyone. I'm sure you're well interested in that.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about kind of what Ryan just said though. Then about he wrote a VSL right for this offer, and it was more so like we're talking pre-education here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ryan took it upon himself to put something in place that wasn't, right? And it kind of really benefited everyone, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I realized the last handful of offers I've been involved with, me taking the sales calls, not just the back end doing whatever we're doing, is always go in there. I'm I see what's going on. I'm all right, cool. I'm just gonna start doing my own thing, and then I just write a video, I record it myself, send it out beforehand, send it in after. And just sort of start playing around with stuff, seeing what works. And I think that obviously if you're relatively competent and you know what you're doing, people catch on to that. And for this example offer, it was a really good offer. They were killing it beforehand. But I just go in there, been in the space for a while, you see some gaps they can do. And I just thought it'd be a good idea to educate things or educate people on it beforehand. It's a very new offer. People come in intrigued by the claim you make, but have absolutely no idea how any of it works. And so to avoid the dynamic of me just yapping and educating them and teaching them all these different things, I realized that became incredibly repetitive. And half the stuff is hey, let's just check a couple boxes in people's mind before they hop on this call. And so essentially what I did is I just recorded a video of me going through the stuff that I very frequently repeat. I sent it to them beforehand, make sure they watch it. And then by the time they're on the call with me, they have a lot more context as to what it is that we're talking about. They don't get on asking, who are you? What do you do? How does this work? Stuff like this. And so that 10 to 15 minute of just pure education is immediately outsourced to a video prior to the call. And then I can do the actual selling and move things along to a decision. And so that's the dynamic I think a lot about when it comes to sales calls. And so in that example, when I was taking the calls myself, that was first thing first that I did. And it worked out very well.
Were there any drawbacks to what you did there?
Well, I think the big thing too is maybe for people who are obviously we have lots of clients that we go in the back, they pay us to do that, the consulting, hey, we're writing the VSL, do this, do that, whatever it is. But for this one, I was just taking the calls. So I just did it myself. I just recorded it. I sent it out beforehand and I was just testing it. I think that with anything in life and business, you kind of have to prove it first. And so whenever I got someone else to start doing it, or the founders to record the video, it was after I closed a guy on a 15-minute phone call because he watched the video. He was pretty much pre-sold, had a handful of questions, concerns he needed to sort out. The guy was in a car, and so he couldn't even get on Zoom. We called, then I closed him over the phone. And then I told the founders, hey, this is kind of what I've been doing. This is how the process works now. And they liked it, and they started doing it. And so I think that with anything, as long as it works, as long as it's more effective, not going to be a whole lot of drawbacks.
Yeah, my point is, though, how can it ever be worse? How can that be worse? It cannot. And so why are people not doing it to begin with? But when I kind of said drawbacks as well, bro, I meant more so these kind of things for me are what I've switched and changed between pushing them really hard. These are so important to, yeah, fuck it, don't do it because you can do it on a call anyway and stuff. And I go back and forth. And it's a bit of a checkbox exercise because you can put the most perfect video in. If they don't watch it, it's a waste, right? And a lot of offer owners banging their head against the wall, like, we've done this massive VSL and no one's watching it.
I think a lot of like super biz-oppy, like the VSLs, I've had people refer to it as like marketing fluff, right? And so you can have this, overproduced, well-written, spend a lot of money, spend a lot of time in this like crazy long VSL. But if it just comes across like extremely fluffy and it's like selling the dream too much, spending more time with their family, like people kind of tune out. And then even if they do watch it, they're still going to get on the call thinking like, okay, that was cool, but like, what do you guys actually do? Yeah. And so I think that like the best way to make like the pre-call education, like pre-call videos, VSL, whatever buzzword you want to use, is to have a system of like iterations from like what you see on a sales call. If people come in, don't understand X, they don't understand Y, they have tons of questions about Z. It's like, if that is entirely what the beginning of the conversation is, reoccurring questions people have, reoccurring misconceptions, reoccurring objections, it's like, I want to just, instead of on every single sales call, have that same 10, 15-minute conversation falling into different rabbit holes, I want to just take that common reoccurring things and record a video of me doing that, send it to people, and make sure they watch that beforehand, because it's going to save them tons of time, tons of confusion. It's going to make the call way more efficient. And so instead of getting confused prospects on the call saying, okay, what do you do? How does this work? I don't understand. I just answer all those questions pre-call, make sure they watch it, and they come to the call. And they'll just have like maybe some higher level questions. Maybe they'll completely understand it. Maybe everything's all clear. Maybe it's like, instead of, hey, what do you do? It's like, oh, okay, that was really good. That was interesting. But like, how does this work? And it's just tying off higher level concepts about the offer.
No, for sure. But was there anything in particular you said to them in a message to get them to watch it? Because I feel like a lot of prospects now, they're like, they've just filled out a form, they've just seen an ad, and they've done all this stuff, and now it's like homework to them. It feels like, how am I going to benefit? So what would you say to them to get them to watch it?
Yeah, I tweeted this yesterday that I had a perfect line for it and that I would sell it if people DM me. But yeah, so what that line is, all I would say is to your point first, yeah, people don't watch it because they think it's stupid. They think it's going to be some marketing fluff, and they think it's homework. And a lot of times people will send the messages like, make sure to watch this. Like, if not, I'm going to reschedule. And it makes it seem like it's like too demanding. And then someone who just responded to an ad's getting hammered on these really aggressive texts saying, make sure to watch this call. If not, we're going to cancel you. And I think that rubs people the wrong way, and they don't do it. And if you make it way too casual, like, hey, this might be helpful before our call, people are busy, they're not going to do it. And so the sweet spot that I found was saying, hey, here's a video. It is a full breakdown of everything we'll cover. It's going to save us a ton of time and confusion. So make sure to check it out before our call. And I found, I swear to God, 90% of people watched it because they don't want to get on the call and waste a ton of time. They don't want to get on the call and be super confused. And so just that one liner there, hey, make sure to check it out. A full breakdown of what we'll cover so they know it's not some bullshit marketing fluff. Say it's going to save us a ton of time and confusion.
How would you feel with $100,000 in your bank? What would you do with your family?
Yeah, they don't want to watch that stuff. And so if you actually, again, have something that is legitimately going to save a ton of time and confusion, and you communicate that prior to the call, and they are more likely to move forward in an efficient manner instead of getting on the call saying, what do you do? How does this work? 30-minute education call, and they say, let me think about it, and you get off, and then you're lost in follow-up plan.
It's a bit mental to me, though, that a lot of offer owners they've seen 1,000 sales calls, the same stuff happens all the time on a sales call. No one does anything to like change. It's just how it is, yeah, just answer them. You ironed it out in one quick, go the close and paid way. But one thing I was thinking about, and I kind of wrote about this, and I created a Figma chart for it, is how this dynamic changes whether you're going for a one-call close or a two-call close, right? And in your sense, you were going for a one-call close, right? There was no kind of two-call system. So if you are genuinely going for a one-call close, and I can go into why you'd want to do that, you have to pre-educate them. Like, you have to push that boat as hard as you can go, because it's genuinely going to help your closing chances on the call the more educated they are. I think the point here, though, is like, it was B2C in many ways, and the way I describe it, whether you should choose one call, like you should go for it, or you should not, is more so the complexity of the offer and how much it requires of the person, right?
Yeah.
In your sense, it was a fairly simple. It's like, they don't have to do anything. It's quite a lot of money, but they don't have to do anything. It's a simple, we do everything for you and we implement it, right? And so there's not much for them to really consider about, oh, my business, oh, I have to do that and stuff, you know? And in that sense, I'll nearly always go to call. But if you have something that is implemented very simply, go straight for the one call close, but you have to nail the pre-call material.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to so many people who kind of don't really understand like the idea of like a sales process at a high level. They just see like maybe an old Russell Brunson book. But if you're selling something like extremely complex, people are agreeing to that call to learn what it is you do and learn how it works. And that's their expectation for it. And the funnel points that in that direction. The setter's like, hop on this call and learn more, and they'll show you what to do. And it's a free strategy session. And so they get on that call, expectation is to learn more. And then you have some guy with a high ticket sales funnel talking about one call close rates, and the person's expectation is to get a one call close, and it's completely misaligned. And so I think the more you can get people on like a one-way path, aligning expectations from like the sales aspect as well as the prospects aspect, so by the time they're on that call, both of you understand there is a decision to be made, and it logistically makes sense because they're educated, they are informed enough, and they're properly prepped to make a decision on that. But I just don't think most people think about it that way.
They don't. But maybe the market's moving a bit, because I know someone in our group, Tag, I think he sent us a video on Instagram. Some sales guys.
Oh yeah.
Going, oh yeah, I'm going. It's like this new thing. Like, yeah, you shouldn't use the free strategy. You should go with apply here. That's what I'm doing across my businesses. He's ripped it from us, bro. We should copyright that thing.
I know, it's crazy. Like when I saw that, it was I know the guy too. He fucking, what's his name? But regardless, he's like a bigger guy in the space, and like the way he posted the video is like it was some like mind blowing idea to only want to talk to people who are like serious about your offer and not just trick them into a call with a free strategy call to learn more. Like, what a crazy idea.
I know. That made me, what you just said made me think. I did, and it's on YouTube, and I can't remember what the funnel was, but I did funnel review episode 1. And the reason I did this was because I was just randomly looking at funnel, and I was mind blown, bro. So I was like, I'm going to have to do a YouTube video about it. I wish I knew who it was. I think it was some kind of Facebook ads coaching. But anyway, you've got this continuum, right, of free strategy session one end, and then the, apply of trying to speak to only serious people who are literally wanting it, right? But this guy took it so far that he was like, in the sign up form, bro, he like said, when are you ready to start? Yes, right now, in a few weeks, and then in brackets, don't book a call. In a month, don't book a call. And he had like 3 questions that the only way you could get a call was if you were basically agreeing to close right there on the call. And I was like, well, that kind of defeats the object of sales, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Basically saying, I hate even wanting to sell, so just come to the call, done, finished. I was like, but that put me off. I wouldn't want to fucking talk to you then, because you're like, I've got to agree to all that.
Yeah, so, probably because the assumption is at that point, it's like if you agree to that type of call, like they're probably just going to like hard close the shit out of you. And so it probably rubs people the wrong way. I think a lot of that stuff is just to filter out people who like just want to learn more, right? Like if it's like, hey, get on a free demo and we'll show you how it works. And it's like, well, are you actually considering doing this, or do you just want to like learn more? You want to know how it works. So if that's the case, we can send you over some resources and you can go away and do the education yourself. But I think the goal is just to filter out those types of people. And just get people on who are like, hey, listen, if this is even aligned with what you're looking for, like, what's the timeline of you moving forward? Because obviously, you're not going to get 100% Laydown closes no matter what boxes you check or what questions you put in the Calendly form. I think it's just trying to understand where people are at and trying to do the best to meet them there.
It is, but it took it like way too far.
Yeah.
Because I even like I get it, but to give an example, like I really respect someone who's a business owner, a successful business owner, and they'll still get on the call and they'll genuinely just like, let's say I did it recently. I won't name names, but I got on a call because I wanted to understand something, and I knew I would be doing something in this realm 6 months down the line.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to figure it out, and he was kind enough and cool enough to take the call and not be pushy about it, and he would just went through it all with me. Right? He didn't know I was not going to buy, and I told him at the end, but I just respect it. So now, when I come round to it, I am 100% going back round to him. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whereas that guy who I just told you about, he was probably one of them who I was looking at, and he just made me think, "Fuck this guy." You know, you want
Yeah.
it's so easy, bro, that you want everyone to come to call already agreeing to close. Like, I want to come and learn, and then look, if it is cool, then yeah, I might buy as well.
Mhm.
There's still that.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Like I said, I think it's a good way to put it, where it is like a continuum to manage of like, well, what is the degree of people you want to get in? Because if you're at a point too, when your calendar's double, triple, quadruple booked for 8 hours a day, it's like, well, then maybe it makes sense to kind of filter out some of those people who are just looking to learn more or whatever it is. And so I think it is something to manage, where if you're a brand new offer starting and you have the time, you have the availability to do those things, to get on and educate people, have conversations, build relationships of deals that can move forward down the line, like by all means go for it. But if you're trying to optimize for close deals as much as possible, collect cash now as opposed to down the road, maybe it makes the most sense to just try to filter out some of those people and prioritize people who can move forward sooner. So there's really no right or wrong way to do it. I think it just depends on what you're optimizing for.
Yeah, for sure. I think you've either got to try and optimize for qualified, semi-urgent people, or
Yeah.
you just optimize for calls. I think honestly that's the better way, because I think people forget commission only setters, commission only closers. You're not paying these people, right?
Yeah.
They're there. So if you've got a shitload, if you optimize for calls and just booked calls, you get as many people who are interested in the slightest on a call with a setter. The setter can be doing this. If they want to there to learn more, the setter can do that with them, right?
Mhm.
They create a human connection. If there's any more than just a little interest, then they can be booked onto the closer call, and qualified, right?
Mhm.
And like I see that as the most effective way, because you're basically using a big net, you're capturing as many fish as you can, and then you're just funneling the best ones through. So we used to do that at High Key. That was literally what we did. Every single person would just come into the funnel, get a set a call, and then if they qualified, they'd come to you and me.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I think that it probably is getting a little bit worse just with like the way the market is right now with all these crazy no-brainer claims. Where like half the time too, like I there's an example in this course. I think I was going through a funnel, and the one guy was like, "It's a fully done for you system, sales team, sales process. We'll generate the leads for you. We will close them for you. We'll build the entire sales team, and we'll actually fulfill the work for you." It was something insane. I'm like, well, what is the client actually doing then? It sounds like you're just running your own business. And I thought
Yeah,
it was just like so absurd. I watched the ad like 3 or 4 times. I still had like no idea like how you could possibly do that. Call to action was like book a call to learn more. And I could just imagine how many people saw that ridiculous claim and they're like, well, I just want to like see what this is. I just want to see what it possibly is. And then they get on that call and then it becomes naturally like an education call. It's just someone telling them what it is, answering the questions that they might be so far away from making a decision. And that at scale is you might have, or like the salesperson or this free strategy call guy might have 8 calls in a day. All he's doing is teaching what that offer is. And that's kind of where we get back to the start of the call is like if you find you're answering the same commonly asked questions, you're answering the same thing, teaching the same aspects of the call, it's like, well, then that person can just record some information and have a pre-call sales asset, a VSL that explains all those different things. And so it becomes like a filtering mechanism where by the time people are actually on that call and they want to learn more, they do learn more. And then that sales call is, a bit deeper into like their business, different aspects of it and how it can actually help them and achieve their goals, solve their pains, as opposed to just being a Q&A education session.
Well, I think we nailed that topic for
I
this
would agree.
podcast. Yeah. So before we leave you, everyone, there's a few updates for you all. a few things coming to Closed and Paid. We've got in number 1, Closed and Paid, the course is moving. The whole thing is moving to wap.com. All in one place, all secure, instead of everything going all over the place, which we currently have now in Discord. Community can be there, messaging can be there, master sheet, video library. We've even created an audiobook so you can listen to the 175-page course.
I think it's like 200 something now, isn't it?
Or maybe 200. But
It's like
yeah, you can just listen to it.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool. Next bit of cool news is we're creating an acquisition course. You know, because before you can say Closed and Paid, I guess you've got to acquire or send and acquire first. You know, so we're creating that with a good friend of mine, Miles, who's writing it. He's an OG in the space, has been doing that kind of stuff for huge brands. So he's writing that. So that's going to be on WAP. So we're going to sell them both. And then the third bit was, and I can't say too much because we haven't finalized it, but we're kind of doing an exclusive partnership or deal with Deal Fuel. So new people who buy the course will get exclusive access for free, which is cool. Me and Devontae, both UK guys, I really respect him. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great value add to the Closed and Paid people.
Yeah, it's 6. You can get really good at sales and then get a really good sales job. Not bad.
Couldn't ask for more.
Cool. Well, if you want to hop on a free strategy call with us, link below. Just kidding.